Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else who's joining me here today. This is another of our pre-season videos looking at how Sheffield United can spend their reported £20 million transfer budget. For those who missed the first video, what we are doing is going through the key positions and looking at realistic transfer options for Sheffield United. We will give you the one we think is most realistic, followed by a higher value and a lower value option. So let's get into it with our defenders. So it feels as though, following a lot of reporting in the last few days, that the most likely option coming in for Sheffield United at centre-back is Conor Coady. Now, does Conor Coady fit what Sheffield United need? So let's look at what we need first of all. Sheffield United play, as everybody knows, with a back three. We have two outside centre-backs who are encouraged to try and get forward and overlap, as it were. We also have a central centre-back who, generally speaking, is defensively strong and will cover when the other two start to move forwards. In terms of individual attributes, all of our centre-backs are really strong one-on-one. And we also are looking for aerially dominant players. We want to make sure that we're not going to get caught out with silly goals, such as corners, such as set pieces, such as long punts forward with an aerially dominant striker trying to take forward. So we're going to look at height, we're going to look at strength, we're going to look at one-on-one defending ability as well. One thing that I think we've been lacking a little bit in recent years is speed in that defence. Norrington-Davies obviously makes a difference in that profile, but at the moment, that is where I think we've got the biggest gap. We do also put an expectation on our defenders to be able to get forward, as we've said before. So we'll be looking for a player with good ball control, with really good fitness, which allows them to get forward and then get back again. And we'll also probably look a little bit at how they are in terms of delivery, because we do look to them to sometimes be delivering the crosses. So does Conor Coady fit that profile? Yes and no. So what do we know about Conor Coady? We know that over the last 5 or 6 seasons, he's been a really experienced Premier League central defender. He would play in the middle of the three, and he would fit the mould of being a leader and being aerially dominant. We know that he's not the biggest, but he does make up for his size by putting his body on the line and winning his share of the headers, and also being able to organise the defence around him. So if we do have somebody who is better in the air, say 𝗍𝗈, he will know when to pull him into position and when to lean on his additional ability in that place. Conor Coady doesn't bring speed. He's not going to make a difference in terms of us being able to catch a fast-running striker who is trying to bear down on goal, but his positioning has always been excellent and therefore may make up for his lack of speed. We know from his time at United previously that he played in midfield. He was a defensive midfielder, but we also saw him get forward and score a fair number of goals for United in a memorable season in League One. So we know he is going to be capable of driving forwards. We can potentially move him out to the right side and utilise him in that overlapping role if we feel as though we have a need there. So do I think he'll come in and immediately improve our first 11 and make himself an undroppable option? No, I don't. Do I think he's a good option? Yes. Yes, I do. Because what he brings us in terms of experience of relegation battles, he's done a really good job of stabilising Wolves. He was a really key part of their defence, and they've generally been a very strong Premier League team. Last season, he's gone to Everton, and during his time there has gone into a relegation battle and been successful in keeping his team up. We saw on the last game of the season how his passion and his leadership really does make a difference and really can drag a defence into keeping clean sheets and into conceding less than potentially they would have done otherwise. So I do think he's a good option, and I think the experience he would bring into the group would be massively valued. So, into our more expensive option, and this one is for a left-sided centre-back who I believe would be a starter for Sheffield United, and that is Jacob Greaves of Hull City. Now, I believe he would be available for around £7 to £10 million, because where Hull are at the moment in their development is that they are struggling a little bit with FFP and will probably look to move players on to increase their value, but B, they really want to have a go at the Championship and start to look at a spot in the playoffs and potentially look at something more than that. So they're going to want funds to be able to rebuild their 11. They are also in a position where Jacob Greaves has not been necessarily their first choice since January. He had a really excellent start to the season, which saw them really bigging him up as a future Premier League star. They felt he was ready for that next stage, and they were confident that he would be able to take it with them because they were starting to think that they would make the playoffs. However, he did get injured, and they had a young player come through their academy who has taken his spot in the first team. Now, Greaves has played both centre-half and left-back, and that shows he's got just the kind of profile we would want from one of our outside centre-halves. He's also absolutely massive. He's about 6'5", and he is just dominant when the ball goes into the box. And we could really utilise his height, both in defence and in attack. As I say, he's played left-back, and so we've seen him on the ball, and he's a really tidy footballer. He is capable physically of getting up and down his wing in terms of contributing to attacking moves, but also in terms of just controlling the ball, beating a man and playing his passes when he needs to. He's a really exciting option, and I would be absolutely buzzing if he was starting for Sheffield United next season in that left centre-back role. That's not to disrespect Jack Robinson, who obviously has had a brilliant season for Sheffield United, but I think we all recognise that defence, particularly left side of defence, is an area where we could look to improve. And so Jacob Greaves is an expensive but a really exciting option for Sheffield United to potentially look to improve in that area. Our third option and our cheaper option is Kieran Clark. Now, I know this isn't going to get anybody particularly excited. He's been at Sheffield United on loan for the last 12 months, and he's done an adequate job. He's not played anywhere near enough football due to injuries, due to other things holding him back. But when he's been on the pitch, he's shown us that he does have some of those qualities that I've been talking about that we need from our defenders. He is strong defensively one-on-one. He's capable of stopping his man, of winning his tackles, and if he needs to, committing the old tactical foul. He's really good aerially. We've seen his aerial strength, both in defence, but also in getting forwards, where he's contributed 2 goals, I think it was, both coming from set pieces. And that is something that we really would want to build on, and a place that we're really going to be looking to try and hurt teams in the Premier League next season. I think where he's struggling is his speed. I mentioned that Conor Coady wasn't the fastest. Well, Kieran Clark looks like he's running in treacle, but that's something that we can work on and cover if we need. Now, I don't think that Kieran Clark will sign for Sheffield United and be a first choice player. If he's coming in, he will be a cover option who can play both in the centre and on the left-hand side. I don't think he's necessarily exactly what we need, but in a time of limited budgets, in a time where you're looking for sensible options, he can do a job. And maybe, just maybe, that is something that Sheffield United will be looking for. Now, as a bonus, I will throw out one final name for us all here today, and that is 𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗂𝗏. He is an excellent option. He's been at Swansea City for the last few years, and he's just left them on a free transfer. At 23, he has a fantastic age profile. Now, I don't think he will come to Sheffield United as a first choice to really step up and be ready for the Premier League, but he's young and he's versatile. He could play on the left, on the right, or through the centre, and that is something that we may be looking to pick up through our free transfers. One maybe to keep an eye on. Now, thank you so much for joining me for this quick journey through some potential defensive options. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that I've been harsh and Jackie Longthrow should be starting our first game in the Premier League? Do you have other options who you think would be great for us to try and pick up, to try and keep us up? Or do you think this is all a waste of time and that you want to let me know that? Now, I'd rather you tell me you love it, and you can do that by hitting the like button and letting me know that this style of video is working for us through pre-season. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon when we look at what midfielders we need to bring in at Sheffield United. Up the Blades.